Hey, so bring it up real quick, cut out. Talk strategy for a second. So when we're talking acceleration, we want to be ground-based more than air-based. Does that make sense? So if I look at the ratio of time on the ground versus time in the air, in acceleration, I spend more time on the ground. And why do we think we spend more time on the ground in acceleration? Yeah, the power comes from the ground. Now, when I get to max velocity, what do you think it is? Contact time decreases, and what's the other part of it? Airtime increases. So when I get to velocity, I have more of an air time, the higher ratio of air time. My ground time is very small. But to get the whole thing started, I need to have really like long contact times in comparison to where top speed is. So that doesn't mean be on the ground longer. You're still applying the same strategy of hitting hard to get off the ground. But in order to produce a forward momentum, we have to spend time on the ground. So our goal is really get back to the ground at a specific distance. We're saying get the foot back down. That means we want to spend more time getting back to the ground than letting ourselves float. The one strategy we could have is like a bound where you get distance floating in the air, right? We don't want that. We want to be able to get back to the ground quickly. So the next part I'm gonna show you is, let me get Chad right here. Right now our strategy is push the ground, but how do I want to push the ground to go forward? What do you guys think? Push back. What should we be pushing back? So think about if you go down in your stance. You guys ever seen track box? So put your other foot up. Okay, when you're in track box, you're pushing something at an angle, right? So stand up. When I'm in track box, I'm actually pushing directly horizontally. It's like I'm pushing a wall behind me. Does that make sense? So when we get in our 3-point stance, I want you guys to visualize like you're in track box or you're pushing a wall that's 90 degrees vertical from the ground. Does that make sense? So the angle of our push changes. So we no longer have to think about our upper body falling over or anything like that. If I push something horizontally, meaning like I'm pushing a vertical object horizontally to go forward, that means I'm going to project myself forward. Okay, so that's our whole focus for today's session, is to push imaginary track box. Does that make sense? So let's go 2 reps each on 3-point, again, 7-step. Then we'll break into groups and we'll keep practicing this theory. All right, so that one strategy only works for a certain section. That section is steps 1 through 3, 0 through 3. That strategy is going to work while I push the track box. What happens when I get past that zone? What do I have to do? Okay, so how would I stay down? If I'm used to retracting the leg backwards, at some point it's no longer going to be able to go backwards because of how fast I'm going. So then what? Under you. So what I saw happening is you guys had retraction. You get to step 3 or step 4 and you try to apply the same principle to that step, and it ends up landing in front, or you push it back and the next one lands in front and then it pops you up. So when you can no longer retract behind your hip, you have to retract down to the ground to maintain that forward velocity. Does that make sense? Good.
Nice, Dustin.
You feel it, Tyson?
Yeah. Nice, Caleb.
Yeah. You'll feel a rise naturally happening.